but yet we have no money to put into our inner city communities. You must understand that there is an economic plan in place in America, and we are the pawns of that plan. Crime in our inner city communities. Black on black crime is the driving force for the economics of America. We are creating the economics on the back of drugs, gangs, crime, killing one another within our own community. Let's take a look at this picture, because as I speak to you today, there's over 101 million black men in jail today. There's over 300,000 black women in jail today. Something wrong with that picture. But you must understand, when we help create this economy by drugs and gangs and crime in our communities, that they have to build jails to house us when we commit crime. When they're building jails around this country, which is one of the fastest growing institutions in this country as far as economic development. When they build these jails, those are millions and billions of dollars of construction jobs that are going on in this country that somebody's making money off of. And when they build these jails, they have to house these prisoners, they have to close these prisoners, they got to feed these prisoners. That's money that's being made in this economy off the back of the misfortune in our communities and the lack of economic development and stimulants going on in the African American community. When we commit crimes and we're dealing with drugs and gangs, our government has to put more money into the budget to hire police officers. And police officers today starting salary is about $30,000 to $40,000 a year. So you're creating jobs in terms of law enforcement. When you hire these police officers, you got to buy uniforms for them. They got to have badges. They got to have guns. They got to have bullets. Manufacturers and corporations are making billions of dollars supplying these entities to house and police and imprison our people. When they get through hiring police officers, they need cars to ride in to patrol our streets, so the automobile industry is making money. They need to put tires on those cars. They need to hire mechanics to maintain those cars, and they need to put gas in those cars. So the oil gasoline companies are making millions and billions of dollars off of crime in our community. Then they have to put a judicial system in place, so we have to have judges. Judges got to have robes, and the judges making about $70,000, $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 a year. And he has to have a secretary. They got to have court reporters. They got to have court buildings. They got to have paperwork and all this stuff. The whole industry of America is making money off the back of crime going on in our community. And of course, you got to have public defenders for those minorities that cannot afford lawyers, and then you got to have lawyers. So the legal system is making money off of crime, drugs, gangs in our communities. You have to heat and put gas and lights in these police stations, in these jailhouses, in these prisons, in these courthouses. Do you see the money that's being made off the back of our misfortunes? So, you know, and not to mention the funeral. You know, when Junebug get killed in a drive-by, we got to go out and buy a suit, because we can't go to Junebug's funeral without a suit. And most likely Junebug ain't got no suit, so we got to buy a suit for Junebug to be buried in. So now the clothing industry is making money. And then not to mention, you know, we got to have some flowers at Junebug's funeral, so now we have to go out and buy some flowers. So the flower industry is making money. And then, you know, we got to have limos to come pick us up for the funeral. So now the automobile industry is making money, and we got to bury them, so the cemetery is making money. And you know, you got to have a program where Junebug could fast at an early age, and he was this, he was this. You got to have all of this, so the paper industry is making money, the printing industry making money, all off the back of the economic embargo that's going on in our inner city communities, which is leading to gangs, which is leading to drugs, which is leading to crime, which is leading to the incarceration of our people. And you know, some years ago I was told the story about the queen bee. And this is the same scenario that we have. The queen bee and the workers. And the workers' responsibility is to protect the queen bee and her nest. And if those workers along the way are killed and expendable, it really doesn't matter because you have other workers that will come along. And we live in a society that really don't care if black-on-black crime kills each other. They don't care if you go out and commit crime because they go incarcerate you if you kill one another in drive-by and gang wars. We live in a society that really don't care because you're expendable. When they put you out of commission, the next person just steps up. They eventually put him in jail, or eventually he kills himself. So something's wrong with this picture, and something's wrong with our economy, the economy that we live in, the society that we live in, and the economy of the wealth that's not being dispersed into African American communities like it should be for the betterment of a people. And something's wrong with the direction that we're going in, and we need to make a change. For Dr. King said, no man can ride your back unless you're bent over. And it's time for the sleeping giant to wake up. And we need to create jobs within our communities. We as African American people spend over $500 billion a year in this economy. Our black churches spend over $300 billion in this economy. Yet these dollars are not translating back into our community. They leave our community as fast as they come into our community. And we need to change that. We're going to have to bring our community, the people of our community together, along with our youth, which is our future. And we're going to have to learn to pool our dollars together and rebuild the infrastructure of our communities through economic development, entrepreneurship, and creating good paying jobs within our communities by buying and selling within. When you change the course of the economic destiny of your people, all of a sudden you will reduce crime, you will reduce gangs, you will reduce drugs, because you have wealth coming into your community, staying in your community, and all of a sudden you see a change, a social and economic change of the things that are going on in our communities. You see better life, better living, better standards, self-esteem within our communities. We need to create our own scholarships for our youth to go to school and be educated on becoming entrepreneurs, businessmen, to become success. We need to educate our young people at early ages to take control of their destiny, to tap into these city and state contracts that are billions of dollars, and federal contracts that flow through this country each and every day that we're not taking advantage of in our African American community. We don't have family restaurants that we own in our communities. We have to go outside of our communities and in the downtown area to enjoy a good sit-down family meal. We don't own our own grocery stores. We don't own our banquet halls. Yet we spend millions and billions of dollars every year as African American people on these luxuries that we go into other communities, and because we don't have them in our community. The leadership that we are looking to in our community to represent us have no vision or concern about the common people or the deterioration of the infrastructure of our inner city communities. And one of the reasons that our leadership that we're looking to don't have true concern about the direction of our communities is because they're eating from the same table of those that are in power, and they're drinking from the same trough from those that are in power. Consequently, they are not interested in a people becoming economically stable,